Today on the big show, we're going to talk about, do service advisors need to know how to overcome objections? Is that something service advisors should be trained to do? We're going to talk about an important event in Christian's life. Also, we're going to try to get to the bottom of the trauma and deep-rooted pain that he has. I'm guessing from childhood, but we're still working on that. And some exciting things in the news. So that and much, much more coming up on this edition of Service Drive Revolution. Before we get to the big subject today, Christian, there's an event in our near future, not the 200th episode.
I'm excited about that, though.
There's an event in our near future that is relevant.
Okay, what's that event?
Your birthday.
Well, it is just around the corner, isn't it?
It's going to be a big one.
Getting old.
You know what made me feel old? By the way, I gotta figure this out. But so we were in Florida, everybody, and Tampa to be specific, and Christians from that area, plus or minus. And you were excited about the hockey team there.
I really was.
And I didn't even know that Tampa, Florida had a hockey team.
Yeah. Let alone
Miami has a hockey team. Like, can you imagine growing up in like northern Canada? You go out in the backyard and play hockey on the pond.
Like since you were 3 years old.
Yeah. And then you get drafted to Tampa, Florida.
Could you imagine like
a bunch of Russians and Canadians.
Right? Could you imagine just asking, where'd I go? The Maple Leafs? The Oilers?
No, the Lightning.
Where's that at?
Not only that, but they've won the Stanley Cup
2 times in a row. They're on pace to do a three-peat, I believe. It was a great game to go to.
So they're in the playoffs at this moment when this happened.
Yes.
And I said, well, we should go because we were right there. We had nothing going on.
Our hotel overlooked it. It was beautiful.
Our hotel was right next door. So we get ourselves some tickets right on the glass.
Yep.
And we go to the game, and I don't. Who were you? You were talking to somebody that saw us on TV, and you show
Rob.
Because we're on the glass, we end up the back of our heads end up on TV, and I've got a bald spot. I've seen a commercial on football where you can do like a virtual thing, and they'll send you something to help you, but I got to do something.
Fill that thing in?
Because I hear if you address it when you start thinning, it's better, it's easier to fix than like once you're a rock. You can't grow anything back.
There's a point of no return.
Yeah. So that's on my list of things to do is
I feel it here too.
I don't know if they give you lotion or pills or what they do, but I definitely have a bald spot, and I never see it.
Well, most people don't either because you're tall. So, like, I'm 5'1" or whatever, and people see my bald spot.
Made me feel old. But you have a birthday coming up?
I do. The number 47, I believe, is what this one is. So
big, real close to 50.
Yeah, I'm getting there. But
you know when you're having a good night is when you don't have to get up and pee 3 times.
Yeah,
if you just pee once.
Anything under 2. I had a 1 peer the other night.
You slept so good.
It was so great. That's how I judge my night. Actually, it's hilarious. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun birthday.
Yeah, I'm going bald.
Yeah, you poor guy.
So depressing.
Yeah, it's funny. You know what? I stayed out in Florida that weekend. So
yeah, I know. I flew home alone.
Yeah, so Chris flew home alone. Normally we like to travel together, and I was playing golf with my son, and he's really kind of starting to get into this golf thing. And I don't know. I'm golfing with him, but I can tell you one thing: it takes a lot of balls to golf like me.
It's so funny. Like for a minute there, I didn't think you were. I was like, he's doing a joke, and then I was like, no, he's not doing a joke.
I brought you back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. I had a feeling that
maybe there was a little story about your kid.
Yeah. You know what?
You're one to share a lot of your personal stuff.
Always you're yelling at me for sharing too much of my personal life and my emotions, but it is fun to watch him play though. It's really cool.
Why don't we get into some of your childhood trauma on the show?
What do you want to talk about? So I had a fairly boring childhood growing up.
You say that, but it's clearly your sense of humor comes from pain somewhere.
I don't know. I think I come from
There's pain in there somewhere.
Of course, I think everybody has a little bit of pain, but
Where did the pain come from?
I come from a long line of pretty funny people. Did I ever tell you? So my grandmother
Funny doesn't come from funny people. It's not genetic. It comes from.
Oh, I think that
Funny is ground out like metal to metal with pain and suffering and humiliation and.
So let me tell you about this non-genetic thing that goes on in my family. My grandmother, genius. She was a brilliant woman. She was a school teacher for a long, long time. And my favorite, like back in the day when they did pictures of the teachers in the yearbook, they'd have like a little quote underneath them. My favorite all-time quote from my grandmother that was in the yearbook is, "Be quiet, or I'll cut your tongue out with a dull knife." In the yearbook, which I think in itself is brilliant, and that's where I would like to attribute my humor from. Also to my grandfather.
How old are you?
I'll be 47 next.
No, when that happened.
Oh, when that happened, 5.
Yeah, so what else did Grandma do besides threatening to cut your tongue out?
That was pretty much it. I probably have a little bit of trauma from watching my grandfather walking around in a Speedo. That was tough. But I think maybe in comparison to the trauma that other people had.
More than the Speedo, there's something
a little
there.
bit in depth here.
Yeah, see, Christian, someday Christian's going to go to therapy. It's going to fall out on the table.
I'm just going to let
and
it
you're going to be
out.
like, what's that elephant in the room?
It's great.
Just hold it inside, Christian. It's
Yeah,
okay. This is a safe place. Our audience cares about you. They want to help.
Yeah, I get that.
And just think about how free it would be if you just opened up a little bit.
I feel so free already.
If you just stop like zipping that back up in the duffel bag and hiding it in the back of the closet.
It's got a really nice little storage space.
It's more like you covered it in concrete.
It's tough to access. That's so funny.
Then you're just wearing it on, you're wearing it also.
I don't know. I'm a pretty happy guy.
No, there's a dark side there.
Well, there's a devious side. It's a little different than the dark side.
No, it's not. Only somebody who's trying to deflect would say that. You're trying to manage perception. I get that, like a good salesperson, but no.
Yeah, this is
That's
great.
not how it works.
For the record, like this is a totally normal conversation that we have all the time.
What did you open up about? There was something. I was surprised. We were talking to somebody, and you came out with some sort of childhood thing. It wasn't a lot, but it was more than I've ever heard before.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. So
it's vital to both of us.
You want to do the news, and then we'll get into do service advisors need to know how to overcome objections? First thing in the news is our 200th episode is coming up, and we think we're going to do it live.
Only
and,
2 more.
Throw a party.
So we have, this is 198, right?
Yeah.
So we got a 199, and then the magic 200,
Party.
which is cool. I might drink.
What about doing some Molly?
And, Kosh, can you get me some Molly? But
I don't like the way he said yeah.
like he took a note.
Yeah, he's like,
But in the news, we'll have to put a picture up of this on too, but Harley Davidson just came out with a new vehicle. It's a bicycle. It's an e-bike. So kind of interesting. Look at the tires on that thing.
you wanna buy a couple of these and we'll start a e-bike gang?
Well,
We'll be like Sons of Anarchy for the...
Literally, like, how funny would it be to have the leather vest and riding an e-bike?
But maybe not make them out of leather, like maybe make them out of like,
Velvet?
Like some sort of like, synthetic,
Oh, yeah.
like whatever they make, like
Vegan, like Doc Martens has the vegan boots. We could have vegan vests.
no, I think we make it out of like the same stuff as like the members only, but it's like a vest.
Oh, what is that stuff?
Yeah, like
that
polyester
shiny
or
weird
whatever.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm totally in on this.
Nerds for trouble. Have you ridden an e-bike?
Never.
Me neither.
But I was thinking about getting a bike for that.
To
ride to
seems
the
like
office.
it takes the fun out of it.
Well, there's no exercise involved.
Yeah.
Man. What do you think about
like
riding a
riding
bike
a-
to work?
I love bikes.
Yeah.
The only problem in LA where we are is it's the cars.
that hit the bikes.
The people driving the cars aren't, there isn't a test for stupid that keeps them from hitting bikes. Most of the time it's the car, not the person riding the bike.
It's true. Well,
you wear
same
a
thing with
helmet.
motorcycles. I think I would wear a helmet if I decided to start biking.
I'm not in the market for a Harley-Davidson bike.
So Harley-Davidson coming out with a bike. See ya. All right. If you weren't in the market for that, you might be in the market for this. A Mitsubishi dealership is selling a wonderfully ridiculous Learjet limo. The Mitsubishi Learjet limo.
If you guys are listening to this, you got to go to YouTube and see this thing. It literally is like they took a jet, took the wings off, and it's just the round part.
Yeah. What do they call that?
Kind of looks like they put it on like a dolly almost, right? Kind of what it looks like. The hot dog float, the Oscar Mayer.
The Oscar Mayer wiener one.
Kind of looks like that, but the wiener's straight.
That is. And
it's a straight wiener, not curved. Don't make my thing dirty. I'm trying to explain something to people that can't see this, and you're
Amazon
you're
logo is all I
imposing
can
your
think
dirty
about.
mind on it.
It's terrible.
But it's like that, except it's not going up. It looks like a jet, and it has the windows.
And the jet engines are still there.
It's like a private jet. But how long is that thing? Do you think? It's long.
Yeah.
You couldn't park that. And they left the little the wing on the top in the back.
tail fin,
the
exactly.
tail fin, and the engines are there, but I'm sure there's no engine in there. But
wow, unbelievable!
How much is it?
So you know what? If you got a special deal on financing, just under $3.8 million is what this will go for.
So the payment on that dude's gonna be like what, 25 grand?
Oh, I feel like
depending on the
more
rate.
than that.
No. Well, I don't know.
Well, there's probably no 0% financing on that thing. But it's really cool red color, actually. But I think it's neat. Wouldn't want to buy one. But so Mitsubishi Learjet.
Learjet limo.
Sorry, I forgot that it seats 7.
There's going to be a bunch of people going, oh, they're making a jet now? No. Right. They took a jet.
Turned it into a car.
Do you know what a Mitsubishi dealership is?
No. Other than a Mitsubishi dealership?
It's a license to sell used cars, which is what that is, right?
Yeah. We have had some Mitsubishi dealerships that were good with used cars. You're right.
What it's good for.
Yeah. Amen. Tough new car franchise.
Good for used cars.
Right.
You know, I heard a commercial.
Yeah.
On sports radio in Seattle, because that's what I listen to. Get all the gossip on the Seahawks and the Mariners.
But did you say they rarely talk about the Seahawks, which is why you want to listen to it, and then they just hold it from you?
The problem is the Mariners, I guess, are doing pretty good, so a lot of it's about the Mariners, but today there was a lot of Seahawks.
Nice.
They had a commercial on there for a dealership, and the commercial was something to the spirit of, we will buy your car, pay you, and then when we sell it, we will split the commission with you 50-50. So we'll pay you on the spot. Like, they were very clear, like, if you want to sell your car, bring it to us. We will pay you for it on the spot. And then when we sell it, we will split the commission with you. Now, they don't specify if they'll split the front or the back end or both.
Or if it's an even split.
But if you think about it, it's genius where if you were going to sell your car, so let's say, I don't know, you had a Honda Accord, and let's say that thing books out for $25,000, just for a nice round number.
Yeah.
Let's say this guy will give you 24 for it. You know you can sell it for 25, but in the market now, he might sell it for 28. You make a little more. So I bet you the guy's buying them for a little less with the understanding that they'll split the commission. And then, and I don't know if he's doing this, but a lot of consumers don't understand, you could move some of that money to the back.
Yeah, make it on finance instead of on the front end gross.
Something, you can move it. So, because I don't know if you can split the back end with somebody. In a lot of states, you have to.
Because you got reserve and
they would have to
chargebacks.
have a finance license or whatever, right?
No, it's got to be front end gross.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant though.
I bet it's working. But that's how aggressive
I would say that's a really good way to
we
build
will
the
split
inventory.
the commission with you.
That's pretty smart. So speaking of a used car entity that's not doing so well, Carvana was told for a while that
A vending machine of used cars.
vending machine of used cars was not able to sell cars in my home state of Illinois.
Yeah, I think they were doing some shady stuff.
So it was about titling issues. So they failed to properly transfer titles for vehicles.
They were
It's sold.
selling cars without having the title, and then people were trying to get the title, and they couldn't get the title.
That's right. And then
something like that.
They were also misusing out-of-state temporary registration permits, like the whole thing, the shady car business thing, like totally Carvana. So good
Also,
stuff.
the outcome of growing really fast, because they grew really fast, and it's hard when you grow that fast to put enough controls in place sometimes.
Yeah, I think it was a little too loose. But they're allowed to sell cars in Illinois on just a little basis. But there's nothing that tells me Carvana is a good thing to invest in right now.
Consumers like it. Oh, you were thinking about buying their stock?
No.
Oh.
No,
You're thinking about selling their stock.
Well, if I had it, I probably would have
short
sold
their
it.
stock?
No, there makes no sense to short everything. Like I've got cryptocurrency right now that I'm not going to short. Doesn't make sense.
Well, if you have it, you wouldn't short it.
Right, but I'm not going to sell it. Well, short buy versus.
Do you know what shorting a stock is?
That's when you buy it low, right?
No, you're saying that the stock's going to go down. You make the same amount you would make if it was going up. So let's say let's say I buy Tesla stock at $1,000.
Yep.
And it goes up to $1,200. How much did I make per share?
$200.
Let's say I short Tesla stock at 1,000. So I short it, and it goes down to 800. How much did I make?
You lose 200.
No, I made 200 because I shorted it.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about then. That's
Well,
good.
I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah. So.
Because our audience, they're probably curious about this.
Oh, some of them dabble for sure.
But what happens is when you short stocks, when people with a lot of money short a stock, it puts weight against it. And so that's why Elon was so mad that Bill Gates and other guys were shorting Tesla, because the momentum shifts the other way.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I thought shorting was when you sold it when it was less than what you bought it for. But that's essentially just losing.
That's
your ass.
just a loss.
Yeah.
You ended up short.
I will be short.
You came up short.
When it's all said and done. I don't.
But no,
think I'm
shorting a stock is betting against it. So you can make the same sort of money betting against. There's a lot of guys that will make money betting against stuff. It's riskier though.
Yeah.
Because when it goes up, you lose a ton.
Have you spent a lot of time on the stock market?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The other thing is a lot of times if you're going to do a lot, you have to have kind of a guarantee against it in a sense. So if you're going to short stuff in a big way, if it goes up, you got to pony up, or you lose all that money. And so
I see.
it's a little different than if you just buy it.
Yeah, so you're trying to plan the ones that are going to suck.
It's a mess. Okay. Do service advisors need to know how to overcome objections? So we get this a lot. Could you train our advisors? The problem here is our advisors. I've yet, I think, in the last year to talk to anybody where it actually was the advisors. It's usually you need more techs, you need better systems than the advisors, right? Most of the increase that we see, very little of it has to do with advisor training in the beginning. It's the systems and the addition of production. But what happens is the service advisors are writing 20 hours a day. They're not calling everybody back. They're not selling stuff. They're scared to sell stuff because they don't have enough production in the shop because technicians have been quitting and we haven't replaced them.
Right.
So we had 20 techs before. We still have the same amount of advisors, but now we're down to 14 techs.
Yeah.
And we think that teaching the advisors how to sell is the problem.
Yeah. So
it's a common thing.
Bottleneck. Yes.
Let's put that to the side for a second. And let's talk about, when does an advisor get into a situation that they need to overcome an objection? And let me frame this a little bit. Most of the time, what you are recommending to a customer as a service advisor is needed. So let's say you call a customer and you're like, Christian, this is Chris over here at Bulldog Motors, and you need brakes.
Like, how bad do I need the brakes?
Let's not turn this into an improv, please.
That's fair.
This isn't Christian's.
That was a ridiculous
this isn't
question.
What's that thing from Chicago, the improv thing Bill Murray came from?
Groundlings?
Yeah, this isn't the Growlings or whatever. Second City?
Second City. Groundlings is here.
This is Service Drive Revolution.
Yes. Continue on.
You need brakes, Christian.
Oh, no.
Now, if you don't get brakes, what's going to happen?
I won't stop.
It's going to cost you more.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't get brakes from me, it means you're going to go somewhere else to get the brakes. But eventually, Christian is getting brakes. The only scenario that you're not getting brakes is you trade the car in or sell the car. But in every other situation, Christian's buying brakes. What objection do I need to overcome except for the objection of, I don't like you, I don't trust you, or you're telling me I need brakes and I'm here to pick it up?
Those would be that'd be the trifecta, wouldn't
Now,
it?
are those objections or are those situations?
Situations, for sure.
So most of the time, what we perceive advisors needing training on overcoming objections really is a failure in the system, or as they would say in Canada,
Process.
the process. And the advisor's lack of petting the dog and building rapport. But I cannot remember as an advisor ever thinking I need to be better at overcoming objections. Mostly what I thought is I need to be a better listener and I need to get to know my customers better. But overcoming objections, so the only objection out there that's a legitimate objection is a customer says, I can't afford it. And then in that situation, you prioritize things or you help them or you give them advice. But even then, you're not, we're going to talk, we're going to say, we're going to talk them into, like maybe in some situations we have a 0% for 6 months financing option.
Financing stuff for sure.
Not overcoming an objection, it's giving them options.
Right. It's still solving the problem.
But are we going to talk somebody into doing something they can't afford to do?
Probably not.
We could give them options, but I don't see it as a good idea to talk somebody into. As a service advisor, I remember customers coming in on payday, or after payday,
or a couple of paydays.
They would get things done, and I would prioritize and I would work with them and that sort of thing. But most of the time, my experience is when we think advisors need to be good at overcoming objections, they're writing too many ROs, they're not building rapport. And then we're trying to sell customers on something either they don't really need or they don't trust us, and whatever we're saying is going to come off as us trying to sell them something they don't need. Because here's how the process should go. Hey, Christian, how's your son?
He's awesome.
How's your job? How's whatever? And we're talking about the things that are important to you.
Yes.
And then I'm like, hey, Christian, the computer says you're due for an alignment, whatever.
Okay.
Should I do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what's the object? Well, what bag of BS do I need to have to overcome an objection? Like
I'll do it next time.
Hey, Christian, you need brakes. Like if I have rapport and trust and I'm actually genuinely advising you like you were somebody I cared about, objections shouldn't come into the equation. If you're getting objections, you're doing something wrong earlier in the process.
Yeah. So I think that's at the end of the day, the lesson on that is what you just said. So I classify that as something you've been talking about a lot lately, the symptom, not the cause.
Yes. Good point.
Thank you, sir.
Good point. So you're either not building enough rapport, they don't trust you, you're trying to get them to do something they probably sense that they don't really need, or you're telling them too late in the process because you're not communicating. One, because you're not over communicating, or two, because you're writing too many ROs and you just don't have time.
Both are very
Like
common.
I had a strategy session the other day, and they have the advisors writing customers every 10 minutes. I said I would go to 20 minutes and give them time to call. And they're like, no, it's like, well, they're human. Like, you got to give advisors enough time. It's our job as leadership to create a scenario and outline an architecture that they can thrive inside of that architecture, but we can't expect them to perform when we're setting them up for failure at every turn.
That's right. So let's say, just in that instance, and this is one of the things that I've done the math for people and it never makes sense. So they say it's going to be every 10 minutes is the appointment for the advisor, right? So let's say that on average an advisor works a 10-hour day. They do 6 appointments an hour. How many ROs could they theoretically write a day?
7 million.
60. So just under 7 million. But my point to that is that even your busiest advisors write 30 a day, which technically could be a 20-minute interval. Now, they'd be writing tickets a lot, but you could do 30 and still have a 20-minute interval. It doesn't have to be a 10-minute, and I think that is, from someone that's written tickets, every 10 minutes, you don't even have time to breathe.
Here's the thing I know, that writing 25 a day for me, I made a lot of mistakes. I forgot to do a lot of stuff. I definitely wasn't following up.
Right.
And it's just not scalable, especially when you can't get the work done and you write 25 a day. Like, the production doesn't match the demand, and the advisors are stuck in the middle, and we think it's training or sales or overcoming objections. But really, we got to build a better production capacity.
If you write 25 a day and you have a backlog problem in the shop, could you imagine making 15 your car's not going to get done calls today? Every day.
That was my life.
Yeah, it's miserable.
It was miserable.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No, it was hard. The dispatcher threw my ROs in the alley.
Yeah. I like that only because it's a great story.
The best part.
That's the same one that drank the coffee?
Well, it wasn't coffee. So it's funny, another advisor there pointed this out to me. I didn't figure this out on my own. But that dispatcher was always there and made coffee. But then he always had a thermos next to him. Ends up the thermos had whiskey. It didn't have coffee.
Yeah.
And that's why he was pissed all the time, probably. I don't know. He's drinking early. He was worthless. Worthless.
I
wish I could go back and, I was new and I didn't know what I was doing, but now it just lacks total common sense.
Yeah, there's no way he added value to the business.
Can't believe that dealership's still going.
Did a strategy session with them a couple years ago. You remember that?
They didn't show up.
Oh, was that what it was?
They're happy in their
misery.
So I think you should work on the process. I think you should work on building rapport. But really, recommending service isn't a hard sell.
Yeah.
You don't need a script. You just need to genuinely care about people and recommend what they need. Have your tech, have your techs believe that you're going to present the work, so they will actually inspect it, which will save your customers a lot of pain and money in the long run if you catch things before they become a catastrophic breakdown.
And for the love of Pete, tell people before they're about to walk out the door what they need to do.
For the love of Pete, call them while they're at work so you can still do it before they show up.
That's right.
Jesus.
Give them a sec.
What kind of trauma have you had in your childhood that you think it's okay to tell them when they get there?
Terrible trauma.
Unbelievable. Well, I think we're getting a little bit closer, gang, to uncovering Christian's deep-rooted trauma.
So deep.
It is, isn't it?
Hypnosis? What do you think? Hypnosis will do it?
I don't know. You think that works?
Oh, hypnosis for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I believe that hypnosis works. I've seen it work.
So you want me to hypnotize you? Why don't you just tell me? Why do I got to go through all that work?
I don't know if I know what the trauma is. Maybe it's so in there that I don't remember it.
You know.
Yeah.
You just don't want to talk about it.
We'll save it for episode 200.
Why don't you just say I don't want to talk about it? Why pretend like it doesn't exist?
Because I literally can't think of anything that's exciting to talk about.
Just do me a favor, really quick. Can you locate the trauma and just kind of like put yourself on the trauma?
No.
No, go back, put yourself on the trauma, and then can you move it around?
What? It's like the Ouija board thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Boy, it's deep. Okay, we're going to keep working on Christian's trauma, and we will see you guys next time on Service Drive
Revolution!
That was good. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.